Welcome to the channel. This is Geauxgreddy and welcome to the 2020-21 FIA Nations race at Dragron Trail Seaside. Tonight, we are in the VGT Mini John Cooper Works Special. It's all-wheel drive and it's, well, kind of pushy, but okay. So let's get right to qualifying. Here we are at qualifying and I am in the John Cooper Works Mini Cooper VGT all-wheel drive extravaganza, and you know what? This is where you make or break your qualifying lap right there. The chicane of death, smooth as butter. Oh, I was so happy I made it through there without dying, because you pretty much have one shot at getting a good qualifying lap, and that is your first time out, because once you wear these tires in on this first lap, it is really, really hard to improve upon it in your second lap. So you got to really make that first one count. So made it through the chicane of death alive. And as we head towards the finish line, I'm feeling good about the lap, and we crossed the line with a 142.598. Super happy about that because that was good enough for pole position. So there you go. Geauxgreddy sitting in P1. Super pumped about that. You don't see that too often. So we got to wait for the lights here as it is a drag start. So as soon as they go out, I dump the clutch, or just release the brake really. Take off, spin up the cold tires. I'm like, that's a pretty good start. I got someone behind me, no big deal. We've got a nice little lead on the group behind us. We'll just go down here through corner one, and then we can start racing. But he had other plans, so I got on the brakes there at the start of the curb like you're supposed to, and he comes in hot, and then Botcoin finishes me off. So P2 comes in too hot in the corner. Let's look at that again. So as you brake you're supposed to brake here at the start of the curbing on the right from the start with cold tires especially. So I brake there. I'm going to turn in, but there he is. So I got to wait for him, and then as I'm waiting for him, I get smoked from behind by Botcoin. So dive bomb and then get smoked from behind in corner one. So that puts me all the way back to P17, I think it was, after all was said and done. Yeah, so trying to find my way up front here, go underneath the bronze, but it looked like Toy Tech there was on his outside, so he had nowhere to go. So he squeezed down inside, and I was there, so that didn't work too well. So I was like, ooh, sorry about that. So get on the brakes here early. I'm going to get to the inside of the apex. These two guys go wide, so I go around them to go around the outside. And the bronze didn't see me out there, so he went to swing it back out, and I was there. So he kind of bumped me off. So I was like, okay. I'll just have to pick a new spot. I'm not trying to be too pushy coming up through here. As to my right, PSRT So Marvel looked like he was going to send it down the inside, but he backs out early and lets me take the corner, so appreciate that. Mr. Marvel, he probably knew I was already having a very bad start to this race, and he didn't want to make my problems any worse. So through the chicane of death here, going to just try and not die, follow these cars through there, and actually everyone made it through without any trouble, which was surprising to me on lap one. I thought for sure someone up front was going to hit the chicane coming out, but none did. So send it down the inside here, and then the bronze makes a move in the braking zone, so I have to really get on the brakes, which gave me a terrible exit and an SR down. So I had to let the motorhead back through there. So heading down into turn one at the end of that lap, or beginning of lap two, motorhead with a slow entrance. Toy Tech there goes off track. Again, I have to back off again because I was about to smoke motorhead there from the rear. Didn't want to do that. So looking to try and see if I can't set up a pass here. So I back off a little bit so I can maybe make a good run in this corner. And boy, he takes that corner a little bit slow there. So just barely touching from behind again. Again, not wanting to kill him. I just want to set up a pass, get by him cleanly. As AMP Kevin 11 serves his timeout for being naughty. I don't know what Kevin did, but did something. So get a good run out of the beginning of the S's there. So I sent up the inside there, and then I get to the inside of the bronze. And then I back off the throttle just a little bit, so I don't push them off the curb. I didn't want to push anybody off, so they got in a little tussle there, so I went by to the inside of them. Now I'm going to go down the inside anytime, and I'm not going to actually pass him, but just trying to make him brake late, which I did a good job of. And then this guy who sent it to me on corner one sends it again, going in here, hits me, knocks me into the other driver, and you know what I get? Of course, I get a 4-second penalty. Yeah, GT Sport just pwned me. That's terrible. Oh, it's such a bad meme. I don't know. I just felt, I was like, okay, well, what are you going to do? Seriously, what are you going to do? So I was like, there's nothing I can do about it. So I just kept racing. And I had to serve a very, very long 4-second penalty. But luckily, I put enough gap on the group behind me, and I'm assuming that a couple of them had penalties as well, that None of them actually overtook me, but I did take that corner a little strangely because it's kind of off my pace there coming through there. So look in the rearview mirror, they did start to kind of reel me in as I was getting towards the end of that, but managed to hold them off. So moving on to lap 3, you make it through the chicane of death without a problem, but Bob Zoll did not. So pass him up as he had a little problem there at the wall coming out the chicane. And finally by lap 6, I catch up to the secondary lead group. So that's like positions, looks like 4 through 7 or so. No, 5 through 7. So the second grouping, I'm finally starting to catch up to them. I'm about 8 seconds off the leaders as I just touched the wall. I really needed a clean exit out of the chicane there to be able to run them down before turn 1. Now this is lap 6. This is pit stop time. So I'm running a 6 soft, 7 soft strategy and saving fuel. So trying to shift to the halfway point. And just keep that fuel in the laps in check as I'm racing. Going there, you can see the smoke coming out of the tires. Greddy's lighting them up. That's how I do it though around the track. I just light it up. So brakes smoking like crazy. Come out of there. Come out of the pits. And P9. So we had some folks who did not stop, and that was not what I was hoping to see. As 2 folks pass me here, Wade Daddy and Dre O'Neill, and they are on very worn tires. You can see I easily catch up to him in turn 1 and just touch his rear bumper. This is exactly what I did not need coming out of the pits was traffic. If I'd have known this was going to happen, I'd just stayed out. But fortunately, it occurred now. It looked like Wade Daddy, not Wade Daddy, but Dre gave me a little room there on the inside, so I appreciate that. That was the case. So he kind of let me through on the underside there. So now I just got to chase down Wade Daddy. So finally catch Wade Daddy here before the chicane of death, right on his derriere as we're coming in the chicane. I just want a smooth entrance and exit so I can maybe make a run on him. I get that nice smooth entrance, but man, I really had to lift there on the exit because it looked like I might hit him if I hadn't. So getting to the slipstream though, I'm going to send it down the inside here. He stays to the outside, so leaves the door open for me. So I brake there right before the 2 cones and just lay it down on the inside, hit the apex, get back on the gas, and we come out in P9. Now, those folks that just held me up are going to jump in the pits. So once again, I got to work back to try and catch the group in front yet again. So as I'm doing that, Marriage 2 comes out of the pits behind me there. He is on fresh soft tires now on lap 8, so he's going to be able to carry those all the way to the end. S. Pruitt all over my tail as well. He is on 1 lap fresher tires. Gets into my rear end as we're coming up the S's. Caused me to go off track a little bit right there, but I know he's on the fresher tires, so I'm hoping he can pull me up at P5, so I'm going to brake early here heading this right hander. So I brake a little bit early. I'm like, go ahead, S. Pruitt. He's like, no, you go ahead, Greddy. I'm like, okay, I'll go. So then I go. He's like, I think I'll go. He throttles out of the corner. Down on the inside of me, which will turn to the outside as you enter the chicane of death, which is not where you want to be. So he backs out. So smart life choice by S. Pruitt. He knows when to pull out, folks, and he did so well there. So on to lap number 10, and I have got Marriage 2 all over my rear now. So as we go through the chicane of death, I squeezed through there without any trouble, but I'm finally making a run at Gen 2 GSRs. It looks like he had a rough exit to the chicane of death, and I'm within 9/10, so I get a good entry into this corner and then get hit from behind by Marriage 2, so I was looking to finally get into the slipstream of the top 5 drivers. Right there, the group right in front of me, so tantalizingly close, yet so far away. So Marriage serves his penalty. He falls back. I finally catch up to Gen 2 GSR for a 3rd time. Finally going to go for a move here. Brake a little late. Try and stick it down the corner. That was a wishful move there by Greddy. That did not work at all. He easily gets the cutback, passes me up coming out the other side of the corner. So I am just starting to feel these tires a little bit now. I've been racing pretty hard on them. Been pushing them since lap 7, since I pitted on lap 6. So, I don't know, they are definitely not in tip-top shape. But I'm still on the tail of Gen 2 GSR, and I've just got a little bit of edge on Marriage 2. He's not quite in the slipstream yet. So with 2 laps to go, if I can hang on here, maybe make a move somewhere, it's possible getting that P5 position. But right there, I was thinking of trying to, run around the outside, get a good run on him coming up this hill, but he actually goes wide in that corner, so I tried to cut it back under, and again, just not quite enough grip to make anything really happen. So I'm going to try and get a good run on him out of the S's. So I start catching him here. I start getting into a slip, and he's pulling me forward, but no grip there coming out of the corner. I go wide. That slows me down now. Marriage 2, well within the slip, as long as S. Pruitt, and I make a rookie mistake and just brake late. Go way too deep, get into the crown out there on the outside. And that is not what I want at all. So now going to the chicane of death. P8, go in there and slow it down, because the chicane of death, like Marriage, sometimes you just hit a wall, folks. Marriage 2, eating the wall in the chicane of death, loses that position. So now I'm back into P7. Thinking I could have been in P5 if I'd made some semblance of a better move on this corner, actually, last lap. So on this penultimate lap, I lose positions left and right, not driving well. Tires certainly aren't helping, but I'm still in the race. I still have a chance to get P6 here, and I'm behind S. Pruitt. Heading towards turn number 1. I want to get on the brakes early, a little bit early here, so I can make a run on him. And actually, S. Pruitt, I think he just broke. I don't know if he broke early, or he was trying to coast in the corner, or what exactly happened there, but got into the side a little bit, didn't mean to, so I backed out of it, led him back through, as I wasn't going to make a move like that. I didn't want to dive it down in there or make it look like it. He goes and defends the inside, so I'm going to try and drive it around the outside of here. I realized that wasn't going to happen, so backed out of that move, got behind him again. Going to try to get in the slipstream up the S's here. Maybe for the chance to make a run on him heading down into that tight right-hander. But, these tires are just not cooperating with me. I've had to fight back from 17th position. Swapped him out on lap 7. Pushed hard to stay up here with all these other folks who are on 1 lap fresher tires. So doing about all I can. Going to the right-hander here. Get back into that slipstream. Looking for an opportunity maybe to make something happen, the chicane of death. But looking at that left front tire, I decide, you know what? I'm just going to try and get through the chicane of death alive. So I back out, hoping someone's going to die. No one dies, but S. Pruitt does not get a great exit there. So I get a good run on coming out of that chicane. Now I'm going to go down the inside. Thought I was going to get in P5 slipstream, make the pass maybe around the outside here. Unable to do so, so I hold him the inside, try to switch it back out of it. Oh, it just wouldn't grip over there. So P5 gives S. Pruitt the slipstream, doing me wrong. Oh, can't believe it. We crossed the line in P7, so P1 to P17 to P7. Could have been much worse. Could have been a little bit better, but yeah, I had a fun race. That was a good race, but I wasn't done for the year. I felt like I could do better, so I'm going to enter yet again. So here you see the lobby after qualifying. I am in P2. Not quite the time I had earlier, but not a terrible time. A 1:42.830, I think is what it was. And so that put me in position number 2 to start the race. So wait for the lights to go out. They do so. Release the brake, let it go. 4-wheel drive, digging into the ground. The cold tires didn't quite spin up like they did in the first race, but so we had a decent launch. P1 is to my inside. P4 is behind me. P3 inside left. Heading into turn 1, fairly clean. Gets to my bumper a little bit there, which kind of messed up my exit right here. So gave P3 an opportunity to go around the inside of me. But that's all right. I'm just going to back off here, let him get in front. I got to think about saving some fuel at some point in this race anyway. So I'm perfectly content hanging out behind P2 as long as he can keep up with P1. So that's what I did. Just slid in there behind P2. Later on that lap, P2 decides he wants to make an overtake on position number 1 and take a race lead. So as he comes out the corner, he heads down the inside, and I'm short shifting as I've got to save some fuel. So I decide, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and follow him. And Lako jumps right back in his slipstream, so I go around the outside there. And Mark V in P1 kind of moves out to the left a little bit, but I mean, I was like, well, you know what? I'm just going to hang out the inside and see if I can go around the inside and stay in the slipstream there at P1. So we come down through here. Probably a bad decision on my part. I probably should just stayed behind Lako through there and let him just stay in the slipstream of P1. But You know, sometimes you don't make the best decisions in a race, and that was one of those times when I did not make the best decision. As I didn't know that the guy in P1 right here was going to be basically just throttling out his RPM. So I'd been better off staying behind the other guy, and we could have just stayed in the slipstream together. But live and learn, they say. So moving on to lap number 3, the P3 driver, Lako, from Canada, has got himself firmly in my slipstream. He wants to send it down the inside. So this time I'm going to make the smart life choice. I pull out there, jump in behind him. I'm going to let him go ahead and save me some fuel. I'm behind on fuels. If you look at there, I'm at 9.5 laps as we're heading, the last half here. I need to be at around 10.5. So I'm about a lap down on fuel, so I really need to start short sifting and being more cautious with my fuel. So I'm like, I'm just going to hang here behind Lako and let him do all the hard work. As you can see right here, even like I had to lift, glide in the corners. I'm trying to lift before I brake there, trying to just save every little fraction of fuel. Because if you lift in a corner, maybe later on that's somewhere you can bump the throttle and get a little extra juice coming out of a corner. So, everywhere I can, just trying to save just a little bit of fuel. So heading on to lap number 6. This is normally where I'm pitting. So there's several strategies you can use. You can go 7 your first time out on softs. You can go 7 your first time out on mediums. Or you could go 6 soft, 7 soft like I was doing, or you could go 6 soft, 7 medium. Several choices. But right here I had to make a choice. Did I want to stay behind these two? Because remember last time I went out lap traffic. Now I thought by this point in the race that P1 had been burning fuel. So I thought he was going to have to add fuel and he was going to come out maybe in some traffic. So I decide I'm going to keep going, see if I can't get him to get stuck in lap traffic. So then I go in, go get my tires. No smoke this time, so I guess I was being a little more gentle on the car than last race. Come out, and where am I going to come out? So if I made the correct decision, I should come out either right with or in front of Mark, who pitted earlier. Now here he comes, so he passes me up. Now he is on 1 lap less fresh tires. So now I have the advantage. I have the fresher tires. I'm good on fuel right now, so he wants to take the lead. I'm like, yeah, you go right ahead. You have the lead. I'm just going to hang out behind you. I'm going to save my tires. I'm going to save my fuel, and I'll get you in the last couple of laps. That's what I'll do. So what I didn't realize was, and it was my mistake, was he had actually put on medium tires. I was just sitting back here just chilling like, man, this is pretty easy. I'm just hanging out here back here behind him without too much trouble. So he hits the guardrail there, so I go down the inside. Like, it's still early, it's lap 9, so I figure he's going to want to sit behind me for a minute, maybe save some fuel himself, so maybe he'll let me go through here. And we come out through this corner, and like I was saying, I didn't realize he was on medium tires. If I had known that, I'd have pushed a little harder in the corners and tried to leave him, but instead I was just hanging out behind him, just chilling, wearing out my tires. Regardless, lap 10, he decides he wants to lead back. So I'm like, that's fine. You have the lead back. I don't care. Again, I don't know that he's on the mediums. I think he's on the soft. So I'm like, his tires are going to be dead on lap 7 on the soft tires. So I'll just sit here and watch it happen. So on that rear bumper, like I said, not too much trouble hanging out with him back here. 3.9 laps of fuel left. Plenty of fuel laps. You can see plenty of fuel as we're almost, a quarter, more than a third of the way through the track. And, I only have 4 laps left, so doing good, doing real good on the fuel, feeling really good about the position in the race. I got a 3-second lead to P3, who had also pitted earlier, or rather later, so he's not going to be on his fresher tires. I feel like the world is my oyster right here. So I go down the inside as he went a little deep in that corner, and I'm like, well, maybe I should push him into the chicane, and he's bumping into me, so I'm like, I'm going to back out. So I let off the throttle, but he's still runs into me and knocks me into the guardrail. He didn't intend to do it. It was just he didn't quite hold his line like he needed to. So I give him a couple flashes, let him know I didn't really like that. But catch back up to him on lap 11 here. As, like I said, I was on the soft tire, so I was able to make the ground back fairly easily. So we crossed the line. I got 2 laps to go. I got 2.2 laps of fuel. So again, doing just fine on the fuel. And he's wanting to race. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll squeeze you to the inside and pass you in this corner. And then, of course, I get an awful exit through here. So Gets a little bit of a cutback here, and I almost go off the curb, but managed to save it, stay on track. But now I've got Mark, whichever it is, all over my back bumper. Head through this tight right-hander, go uphill, but I pull about 5/10 on him. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So his softs are finally starting to fall off. Feeling good. Not realizing he's on medium tires. Didn't figure it out until I put this video together that he'd actually gone in on the softs, came back out on the mediums. So he was on 1 lap older medium tires, which are now starting to come into their own. I didn't realize this. As we come downhill, I'm going to switch my brake balance to try and give myself a little better braking. And I realized I've been going this whole time with one to the front, so I was getting even more tire wear to the front than I should have been. And as I'm doing that, I'm not paying attention to him, and he launches it down the inside. I have to back off to make sure I don't turn in and get hit and or hit him, cause some weird penalty or something like that. So I give a little look to the inside to distract him a little bit, see if I can't get him to make a mistake, and it works. He hits the wall on the chicane of death, but I get a half-second penalty, which is critical because the guy behind me is only 1.5 seconds, 1.2 seconds back. So I've got to get on it a little bit to kind of get as much gap as I can between me and him before I serve this penalty. So I'm able to put almost 2 seconds on him as I serve that penalty. And I mean, I thought that that's all that I would need. So one more chance through the chicane of death. Coming through here, he's about 1.3 seconds back behind me. I navigate through it alive. Finally get to redeem the Seaside tragedy from earlier in the race. One last corner, navigate, and I've got this sweet taste of victory. Come around the corner. All I got to do is just let it roll. Don't have to worry too much. He's still 1.5 seconds, 1.2 seconds back, and I run out of gas. I forgot to look at the gas. I was so worried about brakes and penalties. I didn't think to look at the fuel. Oh, and I could have made it last. It's so aggravating. So I lose P1 and P2. End up in P3. More tragedy at Seaside. Oh, well. Took home 163 points in the Nations. Had some good races. Had some good times out there. So while it was a tragedy, it wasn't a complete loss. Did gain 1,800 DR on the night, so that was good. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like and or subscribe. Help out the channel. I would appreciate it. For myself, Geauxgreddy, y'all have a great evening. DJcLean, take us out of here.